Alright, so I want to talk about the top 5 neighborhoods in Burns Township, New Jersey. Now, you might also be looking for Basking Ridge, and that's because most of Burns Township has a Basking Ridge mailing address, and Basking Ridge is a small little subsection within Burns Township. Now, I hand-selected these 5 neighborhoods because they each hold their own unique distinction that separates them, in my opinion, amongst all the rest of the 25 square miles that Burns Township covers. So if that sounds like something you want to join in on, come along for the ride. My name's Kevin and this is Living in Jersey, and I make these videos so you know exactly what you're getting yourself into when making the move to the Garden State. I'm also a realtor and I would love to be a real estate choice making the move to New Jersey, so feel free to call, text, or email me at any time. I'm going to start this video off like I normally do, just giving you a brief map tour to give you the proximity of Burns Township to New York City. So we're looking at North Jersey right now. You can see New York City over here to the east. If I zoom in, you could see Central Park. But I'll zoom back out, and about 40 miles west in Somerset County, we've got Burns Township. So depending on where you are, is that 35 to 40 miles. I'm going to switch over to this map just to give you some context. If you're driving to the city from Burns Township, it's going to take you about a little under an hour with no traffic. It could be probably almost 2 hours if you have significant traffic during rush hour. Also switch over to the train. We got 2 train stations, Basking Ridge and Lyons, all on the same line. The fastest train will get you there in about an hour and 15 minutes from the Lyons station because it's one stop closer to New York City. And for the most part, you're going to be looking at probably like an hour and 40-minute ride because there is some transfers on this line when going to New York City for the vast majority of the trains going out of these stations. So when we're looking at the Burns Township map, I'm going to be taking us from north to south when covering these top 5 neighborhoods, with the exception of my personal favorite neighborhood. Again, it's my opinion. I'm going to save that one to the end because there's a lot to talk about. To kick things off, we're going to start in that northern section of Burns Township, right above Route 202 with Hardscrabble. Now, Hardscrabble is a road. It's not really a neighborhood, but it's just a section of town. Its unique distinction is that it's extremely close to a few major shopping and restaurant hubs. It's about 5 minutes away from downtown Burnsville, 5 minutes away from downtown Basking Ridge, which again is a subsection of Burns Township. And then it's also 10 to 12 minutes away from downtown Morristown, and then also 10 to 12 minutes away from downtown Mendham Borough. So again, I honestly can't think of a better place kind of within Burns Township to have proximity to all of those really restaurant options. So that's obviously its key distinction. It's also one of the most beautiful landscapes, I would argue, in all of New Jersey. When I'm trying to ride my bike in the fall months, I frequently find my way to Hardscrabble Road just because of its sheer beauty with the fall foliage. There's a lot of brooks and streams kind of scattered throughout. It's got kind of like a marshy kind of look in some places. And it also has a wilderness preserve in this section that actually has its own trail system that you can enjoy as well. But just absolutely kind of honestly like breathtakingly gorgeous fall foliage in this section. Now, you're also very close to Whiteman Farms, which is right off of 202. Another great spot during the fall months to get your pumpkins. They also have a little shop there where you can get some baked goods, which are also delicious. And you can even get your Christmas tree there in the winter. Another park that's really close by is Jockey Hollow Park, which is kind of on the Mendham Township, Morristown border, but also not very far away from this section. So if you're into the outdoors, you like the wilderness, I can't think of a better place for you. Now, there's a neighborhood called Crystal Ridge throughout this section, and there's really large colonials here, and you're looking at a price range in this section of town from about $1 million to $2 million, depending on obviously the size of the house. But those Crystal Ridge homes are going to be kind of pushing that $2 million mark. And again, like the price is for a reason because you do have that kind of perfect blend of like privacy and kind of like a sanctuary, and then also 5 minutes away from major shopping restaurants. So again, that's about it for Hardscrabble. Next up is that downtown Basking Ridge section, and the key distinction to this section of town is that number one, it's obviously very walkable to those shops and restaurants in Basking Ridge. The other key distinction is that there's a wide variety of different styles of homes and prices of homes. So you can find anything from about $500,000 with like a 1,500 square foot home to closer to $2 million or $1.7 million for a 4,500 square foot home. There's also a variety of styles because we've got capes, ranches, colonials, historic homes, a lot of unique kind of architecture and features some teardowns and new builds, so you could pretty much find it all within this section of town. You've also got the Oak Street School, so if you have kids, you'd be able to walk to class. If you are also into hiking, there's the Lord Sterling hiking trails. I would say they're more walking trails, relatively flat over there. There's also Southern Park that has a basketball court and a playground. So those are some things that you can enjoy when living in the downtown Basking Ridge section of town. Next up, we've got the Summit, and hence the name. It's extremely hilly, and it's pretty much like a mountain going all the way to the top. So in terms of finding like a flat piece of property, it's kind of few and far between, but it has some other key distinctions that make it a really great location. So it's very close to the Lions train station, which I forgot to mention, the Basking Ridge section also has a train station along that same line. The Lions station is just one stop closer to New York City. And that train's gonna get you to New York City in about an hour and 20 minutes if you're on that fast train, which only comes, I think, like once a morning. You have to get on there about 6:50 a.m. But that could be convenient for you if you live in the Summit neighborhood. In addition, you're also close to the Lions VA Medical Center and the Pleasant Valley Park. And there's tons of sidewalks and paved trails throughout the section of town. And when I'm driving around, I see a ton of people getting their runs in and their exercise in throughout the day. So kind of the infrastructure of town is like very conducive for running and physical activity. You can definitely ride your bike on those too in a very safe way. In addition, you've got the Lions Shopping Center that has a Stop and Shop, which again, I'm not completely impressed by the whole shopping center. Definitely needs a facelift, but could be good if you're in a quick pinch. In addition, you've got the Coakley-Russo 9-hole golf course right there. So there's plenty of outdoor activities, and if you're kind of like an activity enthusiast, I would say this is definitely a great place for you. In terms of price range for homes, you're looking at anywhere from about $800,000 to $1.3 million, obviously depending on that size of the home. And that's based off of the current market rates at the time making this video. Now let's make our way to the furthest south section of Burns Township with Deer Ridge. Now Deer Ridge isn't necessarily a neighborhood, it has some like offshoot kind of cul-de-sac neighborhoods throughout it, but its key distinction is privacy. You're gonna look at lots of land of about 3 acres in this section. Things are spread out, pretty heavily wooded, so I would argue this is the most private section of Burns Township, with some competition from that hard Scrabble section, but in general, I think there's more private options within the Deer Ridge neighborhood. Now, another key distinction is that although it's very close to Route 78, you can actually get to the Bridgewater Commons Mall in 10 minutes or less, taking all back roads, and then you can also get to the Chimney Rock Whole Foods in about 10 minutes or less, also taking back roads. And that's actually a question that I get from clients pretty frequently is, how close am I to the nearest Whole Foods? So in this neighborhood, it definitely checks that box. Now, the last distinction is that it is also very close to the #2 private school in the entire country, in the Pingree School. And as far as real estate goes, you can get something from anywhere from under $1 million to over $2.5 million for like a 7,000 square foot home, which might be this one on top of the hill here, which when I was flying the drone around, I found one of the coolest looking houses I've ever come across in my real estate career. So that's an option in this section of Burns Township. To round today's video, I want to finish with my favorite neighborhood, and that's the Hills. And hence the name, it is a huge development complex built, well, on a hill. And my favorite thing about it is that there's literally something for every price range in this neighborhood, because you can get something from $100,000 one bed, one bath townhome to a single family colonial for over $1 million. Now, something you really have to pay attention to, and that's where a realtor like myself comes into play to help you kind of navigate this nuance, is that the border of Burns Township and Bedminster runs right through the middle of this neighborhood. And that makes a big difference when it comes to the schools. So on the Burns Township side, you've got the Mount Pleasant Elementary School, which is the #1 rated elementary school in all Somerset County, according to niche.com. So obviously, if you live on the Burns Township side, you go to that school. If you're on the Bedminster side, you're gonna be going to the Bedminster Township School, which is a K-8 school, is an A- rating according to niche.com, and you'll also be going to Bernards High School in Bernardsville rather than Ridge High School in Burns Township. I know, it's confusing, but that's something you definitely want to pay attention to. Both have good school systems, so you really can't go wrong with either one. It is slightly more affordable on the Bedminster side. That's where you kind of find some of those $100,000 options. And then kind of the starting range for the Burns Township side is about $500,000 to $1 million plus. So if you need help navigating, you know who to call. Some other key distinctions of this neighborhood is that it has a couple different shopping hubs. In the Bedminster side, you got King's Grocery Store, there's an ice cream shop, Orange Theory, Urgent Care, there's a couple of medical offices down there as well. It pretty much has like all the necessities right in that little downtown hub. There's also the Highlands Village shopping center kind of on the top of the mountain or on your way up the mountain in this neighborhood that has a Walgreens and some other conveniences as well. In addition, you've got the New Jersey National Golf Course kind of right embedded within this neighborhood, and there are some kind of golf front properties with condos and single family homes kind of scattered throughout. But it's a beautiful, well-maintained neighborhood. It does have an HOA. You're looking at an HOA fee for condos anywhere from like $350 to $500, obviously depending on the size of the home. And then for what I'm seeing, single family homes is about $43 a month because you're going to be taking care of a lot of your property maintenance as opposed to the HOA taking care of it. So just something to pay attention to. And another final key distinction is that in terms of commuting, you literally won't find a better kind of commuting hub in New Jersey, arguably, than this neighborhood. You've got Route 202, Route 78, and Route 287 right at your fingertips in this neighborhood. So whether you're traveling north, south, east, or west, you've got it covered. If you want to take a little drive to the Lyons train station or the Basking station, you've got to take a train, also an option. But in terms of convenience, you can't find a better place. Definitely in Burns Township. I'd argue, throughout New Jersey, there's probably a few other places that would maybe even be able to compete. So I hope you guys found value in today's video. If you have any questions, make sure you comment below. I'll make more videos in the future about these topics that you comment on. So to remind you, I am a realtor in the state of New Jersey. I love making these videos. Nothing gets me more fired up than closing deals for my clients on their dream homes when moving to the Garden State. So feel free to call, text, or email me at any time, and I cannot wait to help you. Till next time, guys, hope you enjoyed.